The Marty and Laura Show is brought to you by Veterinary Village. With locations throughout Wisconsin, Veterinary Village is dedicated to enhancing the quality of animal and human lives, today and into the future. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Marty and Laura Show. We are so excited you're here. I am Laura.
And I'm Marty. Why are you always first?
Because I'm the host and you're the doctor.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
I'm just the pretty face here, babe. I mean, you're the smart one.
Got it. Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
I didn't say that. Just to be clear, I didn't say that.
Well, there's anyway, whole discussion about the pretty face, but we are continuing a conversation we started a couple of weeks ago talking about our pets' allergies. And we talked last week about food allergies. And this week we're going to talk about contact allergies, pest bites, right? Fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, all those terrible things. And
Bee stings, yeah.
Bee stings, yep. And vaccine allergies and some of the things that we can see with that. So
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff that our pets can find to react to.
Yeah. And there's basically 4 different categories of allergic reactions. So we're not going to get into the heavy duty science of what they all are. But there's definitely differences in those. And some of these are very similar to what people have for reactions. So I think that people can kind of identify with those kinds of things. Like there are dogs that can have a severe enough reaction to a bee sting that it can be very similar to people that are allergic to bee stings. They
Anaphylactic,
can,
yeah.
yeah, it's bad. Like they can have facial swelling and airway swelling and those kinds of things. So those are all things that happen to our dogs as well. Cats typically not a problem with bee stings or mosquito bites and those kinds of things, but we can certainly see those in our dogs. So if you have a dog that has that kind of a severe reaction, yeah, some of these need to be on epinephrine if it's that bad. But fortunately, maybe we see one of those every couple of years. But the dogs with the other kinds of allergies are a lot more common, like flea bites and
Right.
mosquito
So
bites and
talk to us
those.
about a contact allergy because the spicy flying snacks, spicy raisins that they snap out of the sky, that's a whole thing by itself, right? But contact allergy, that anything that they come in contact with, talk to us about that. What are those?
Yeah. So typically it's going to be on the underside of the dog. So sometimes their feet, oftentimes their bellies, if they're boys, their scrotums, the girls on their mammary glands. So anything that they're in contact with that makes them break out on the underside exclusively may be a contact allergy. Now, if they have lesions all over their ears and their back and everywhere else, it's probably not a contact allergy. But say you got a new wool blanket for Christmas and you threw it on the couch and it's this beautiful new blanket or a knitted blanket or whatever it happens to be, and the dog starts laying on it and they start breaking out, then that very well may be a contact allergy. So I think those are things that people often overlook. I had one dog that we thought was allergic, found that we was allergic to the carpet powder that they put down on the carpeting. So anything that the dog can be in contact with could potentially cause a contact allergy.
Laundry
In
soap,
people,
right?
if you're going to,
Or
yeah,
any of
laundry
that
soap.
kind of stuff, right?
Exactly. So I'll have people buy those all free or cheer free, those scent free, color free detergents to wash their dog's bedding in or maybe it's not your dog's bed, but it may be that they sleep on the couch. So you could put a white sheet down that you washed in those kinds of free, color free and scent free detergents to help. Because a lot of dogs will have sensitivity, especially the white dogs. A lot of white dogs, West Highland White Terriers and Dalmatians and Setters, and a lot of those white dogs do have a tendency to have more sensitive skin than dogs with other colors. I have Danish Swedish Farm dogs. Some of those are allergic.
Right.
It happens.
Right. Talk to
So
us about, I know I have seen, we're always into myth busting around here. I have seen people say that their dogs can be allergic to things like Febreze or some of these things that we use as cleaning products or air freshener products or anything like that? Have you encountered anything along those lines that you can talk about?
They can be a little hard to chase down, but I think they're
Mm,
probably a real thing. So if you start using Febreze and the dog starts to break out, then yeah, let's assess that
mhm,
situation. That's where, if there is a surface, maybe putting a white sheet that you've washed in something to, like you've already sprayed the couch, so you can't get rid of it. You're not going
right.
to throw the couch away.
Right.
Then you might have to put down a white, you go to the store, buy a white sheet,
Mm,
wash it in those detergents, cover the
mm,
couch, cover some of those things with it. That might be a real thing. If you have a dog bed that your dog lays on frequently and it has a cover that zips off, you can
mm,
throw that in the wash with
mhm,
those kinds of detergents. So just think about some of those things. But
mhm,
seriously, if the dog's underside is where they're typically most sensitive, their bellies and their undersides of their feet and those kinds of things. Those are things to think about as a possible contact allergy. And again, this may require working with a veterinarian or a veterinary dermatologist to chase down some of this. So important that you know that. Now, the insect and flea bite things, like I said, if they have a very, very severe allergic reaction, anaphylactic, you may need to have epinephrine around, and they do make EpiPens. We do some, maybe once every couple of years, epinephrine home with a client if we think that they've got a really severe allergy.
mhm.
But there are a fair number of dogs that will have facial swelling after an insect bite of some type. And so we'll put those dogs frequently on Benadryl
Right.
and then some other allergic medications as well. But if all you have at home is Benadryl, Benadryl is safe for dogs. So you can absolutely use it.
And there's a very specific, I think you're the one who told me this, very specific dosage, and like you have to give it more than once, right? I think a lot
Mhm.
of people misunderstand that. Can we deep dive a little bit on the Benadryl?
Sure. So I will use Benadryl at 2 to 4 milligrams per kilogram. So you have to divide the dog's weight by two and then multiply by 2 to 4. And that's your Benadryl dose. Benadryl comes as a liquid, it comes as capsules of 25 and 50 milligram.
Mhm.
But don't use Benadryl mixed with anything else. Don't use
Right.
Benadryl liquid that has xylitol in it. Don't use Benadryl mixed with Tylenol. Don't use any of those other things.
Mhm.
Just be sure that you're using straight up Benadryl. So again, this is an over the counter product, but your veterinarian should be making those decisions with you and for you. So be sure that you're consulting with a veterinarian. You can't just use over the counter medication willy nilly. You really need a veterinarian's input. They do make a 10 milligram and a 30 milligram tablet for dogs with Benadryl. That's beef flavored. So
Mm.
it's called Vetadryl. So you can easily get that from your veterinarian if you have a dog that has a frequent need for this. Now, the typical dogs with mold and pollen allergies don't respond particularly well to Benadryl or loratadine and some of those other over-the-counter stuff, but the facial swelling from a bug bite, an insect bite, those kinds of things they may respond to.
Mhm.
The other thing about the insect bites are flea bites, and flea bites often cause dermatitis in dogs and cats. In dogs, frequently in a little V-shaped section right above the base of their tail. In cats, that same area plus around their head and neck.
Mhm.
So they can be so sensitive if they're allergic to fleas that one flea bite a week can be enough to really set them off and make them very uncomfortable. The
Mhm.
good news is we have all these new flea and tick medications on the market, especially for dogs, but for cats as well. So we have Bravecto, Credelio, NexGard, and Simparica that all do the flea and tick stuff. So we don't see nearly the flea bite problems that we used to. And we never saw as many in Wisconsin as you see in the southern states where it's humid, like Florida and Alabama and, that whole southeast part of the country. But a lot of these dogs are a lot more comfortable now because we're not
Mm.
seeing flea bites as an underlying cause for skin problems.
Mm. Makes it so much easier.
Doggett simplifies the puppy buying journey by connecting families with the perfect breed and responsible, health verified breeders. They are the only breeder marketplace that verifies health clearances and responsible breeding practices. Through their personalized puppy matcher tool and matchmaker services, they educate and guide buyers every step of the way, ensuring a seamless process and a perfect match for their lifestyle. From initial breed consultation to introductions with top breeders, Doggett makes responsible puppy ownership easy and stress-free.
Dog breeding is more than a hobby. At its best, it's an all consuming quest to create something lasting and beautiful in the world. We are super excited to announce that the groundbreaking series Pedigrees to Pups is now streaming live on Doggett. Dr. Marty Greer and I teamed up to offer a complete 360-degree mentoring experience. We're blending advanced reproductive science with that intuitive breeder's eye. You can stream the series today on your Doggett app. If you're unsure, visit puredogtalk.com to get connected. You can answer the call to pursue that one impossible thing. The chance to preserve, protect, and improve something that truly matters. You and I have never, I don't think we've ever done on any of our episodes, talked about spider bites. And I think that is,
Oh,
I know, right? In our insect allergy, I have had more dogs react to a bad spider bite, like a brown recluse or a black widow
yeah,
or something like that, than I have bee stings far and away. Can we
yeah,
kind of touch on that a little bit?
yeah. Yeah, and the brown recluse spiders can cause some really nasty necrotic, aggressive lesions. So, and the problem is they're hard to diagnose because the dog may come in with this symptom of this skin lesion, then it rapidly gets progressively much worse. And we don't have a history because the dog can't tell us that they had a spider bite.
Mhm.
In fact, sometimes even people can't tell you that they've had a spider bite because it may have happened when they were unaware, they were sleeping or whatever. So it can be a little difficult to chase down. But yeah, they definitely are a thing. They're definitely a thing.
I was,
And then
I
we
was,
can have vaccine. Yeah, then we have
yeah.
vaccine reactions as well. And so again, they can have a really sudden onset where they collapse right after the injection, or they can have a situation more commonly that we'll see within 40 minutes, 45 minutes or so, that the dog has some pretty significant facial swelling. And so this is why if you vaccinate your own dogs, you should do it when your vet clinic is open, not on Sunday afternoon when they're closed. You should do it when they're open, and you should have the ability to respond by having at least Benadryl, if not something else on hand, if you do have an allergic reaction to a vaccine. They don't happen often that they're the really severe type where they collapse,
Right.
but we see one every couple years that a dog literally within 3 minutes of the injection will get real pale, their blood pressure drops, they drop to the
Mhm.
floor, and they're in trouble. So those dogs need to be at a veterinary clinic when they're vaccinated. We don't see as many vaccine reactions as we used to because leptospirosis tended to be the product of all
Mhm.
of them that caused the biggest
Mhm.
problem, but we can see them react to rabies or distemper, other things as well. So lepto has cleaned up the vaccine companies have cleaned up the lepto vaccine quite a bit, so it's not as antigenic. It still gives us good protection, but we see fewer allergic reactions. And those typically were the dachshunds, the pugs, some of those smaller breeds that we saw reactions to. So they still happen. Just, be thoughtful about it. And if you vaccinate, like when we vaccinate our own dogs, like my husband and I vaccinate our own, we
Mhm.
never do that and then leave the house. We never do that and,
Mhm.
don't look at them again
Mhm.
for 45 minutes.
Mhm.
They're under watchful eye during that time period. But I've had enough dogs that have gotten a vaccination, they put them in the car, they leave the clinic, everything's great. They get home, they open the car door to let the dog out of the crate, and they look at the dog and they're like, well, that doesn't look like my dog. It looks like a Shar Pei. What happened?
Uh,
So those are the allergic reactions that we
mhm.
can see. So that's when you do that turnaround quick, call the vet clinic,
Come back,
and you head
yes.
right back in for treatment. Yeah, because you do need that intervention.
So what are the dogs reacting to? What are their systems reacting to in the vaccines? Is it the what do they call it?
It
Adjutant?
could be the adjuvant, or it could be the product itself. So it could be the leptovirus, or the leptobacteria, because it's a spirochete, or it could be the adjuvant, which is the product that they add to the vaccine to
Mm-hmm.
help their immune system respond to the vaccine so that they do develop immunity to those diseases. So it can be any of those. Now they do make some adjuvant-free rabies vaccines. They make one that's thimerosal-free, which is mercury-free. That's one of the preservatives. So
Mm-hmm.
there are different ones on the market. And if you either have a pet that is very sensitive, like my niece's cat will never get another rabies vaccine because she reacted very, very badly to a vaccine. So they make a thimerosal free, they make an adjuvant free vaccine, mostly for cats, that's called PureVac. So you can get those. You can get thimerosal free if you're the kind of person that wants to just minimize any risk
Mm-hmm.
that you have. And you can ask your veterinarian if they carry those, and if they don't, Either can they get a dose in for you, or can you find a vaccine at another veterinary clinic that they would be willing to vaccinate? So you can be the informed consumer and ask those questions. 99.99% of the pets do fine with all the vaccines, but you always have that possibility that there is that one that just ends up with something like that. They can end up with all kinds of weird immune vaccines. Immune injuries happen in dogs and cats as well as in people, not often, but often enough to say that they do exist.
Right. Right. So other than, looking for underneath lesions for a contact allergy, keeping your Benadryl on hand, and paying attention when you vaccinate, what else are we putting in this category?
Use your flea and tick preventives.
Mm,
The oral ones that we just mentioned, Brevecto, Credelio, Simparica, and NexGard, will protect them from tick bites and flea bites, but it doesn't have any repellency for mosquito bites and biting flies and that kind of thing. So if you're in a high exposure situation, either all the time or you are vacationing or traveling to some place where those are happening, then some of the topical flea and tick preventives can have a much better effect of a repellency than the oral four. Now you can use those four oral ones along with a topical because it's a different mechanism of action. The drugs can be used together. But for instance, Vectra 3D, which is a prescription product that's topical for the dogs, has an amazing repellency for biting insects, biting fleas, that kind of thing. Some of the other ones that are over the counter are better than others. The less expensive ones tend not to have the best repellency.
mhm.
But for instance, one of my doctors has a Bernese Mountain Dog, and when he puts Vectra 3D on the Bernese Mountain Dog, if he sits close to the dog outside in the evening with the mosquitoes out, the mosquitoes don't bite him either because the dog has like this shield around it.
Oh my God, that's
So
crazy.
depending on,
I had really great results when I was using Vectra, so that's good to know.
yeah, it's
Mm,
great, but some dogs don't tolerate the topicals very well.
mhm,
The permethrin, as it dries, has this sort of evaporative cooling effect, and I have used it personally on one occasion myself for a human product, and it gives you the heebie-jeebies for some patients. So if you
mm,
put it on and they go out and they roll around and they act like spin circles and that kind of thing, you may have a dog that doesn't tolerate it well, so you may have to find something else. Typically, the natural products, the Wondersides, and some of those other products
mhm.
don't give us great repellency, don't give us great control. I can't tell you how many people come in and say, well, how could my dog possibly have Lyme disease, anaplasmosis, or ehrlichia because I use these natural products and I never have fleas and ticks. I'm like, well, newsflash, if your dog has Lyme disease, you had a tick
Yeah,
bite.
tick.
So some of them are not effective. There's people that say, well, Guinness beer protects them. Okay, well, if Guinness beer protected them, kids in college would never have Lyme disease. So you can't rely on some of these products as reliable as some of the prescription products are. And interestingly, things like Vectra 3D, which is prescription, may actually be safer than some of the other products. Does
Mm,
Frontline work? It does, but there's Frontline Gold and Frontline Plus, which actually work better.
mhm,
But again, you have to be aware of your individual dog's reaction to those products. You have to know, is the dog pregnant? Is she being
mm,
bred? Is he a breeding dog?
mhm.
What is your lifestyle? What bugs, where do you live? What kind
Right.
of critters are you trying to prevent? If you live in Utah, the highland desert of Utah, you may not need much. If you live in Florida, it's an entirely different
Whole nother story.
experience.
And can you touch on, because I know this is an issue, the some of the oral medications and potential seizure risk that goes with
Mhm.
those in seizure prone dogs?
Right. So all four of those drugs are in the same drug class, and
Mhm,
dogs that are seizure prone are more likely to have a seizure on those products than other dogs. It
mhm,
doesn't mean that the seizures are caused by the medication, but it does lower the seizure threshold in some of these dogs. And there is now a 1 year injectable Brevecto product
mhm,
that actually is at a lower overall rate because the dogs don't have these wide swings of ups and downs.
mhm,
But in our hands, we have not started doing the injectable Brevecto unless it's a dog that's been on one of those four oral medications for a period of time to make sure that it's not a seizure prone dog, because I don't want to give an injection of a product that's going to stay in their system for a year unless I know that they're not seizure prone. So that's how we do it. I can't
Mm,
speak for other veterinary clinics. I think it's important to have that conversation with your veterinarian.
right.
That's an amazing product, and the people who have been getting Bravecto injectable, the Quantum, absolutely love it. But it is not for every patient. It is not for every lifestyle. So it's a conversation to have with your veterinarian on an individual basis. And I'm just going to encourage people, whether it's vaccines or medications or treatment or blood work or whatever, that you should have individual pet care
Mhm.
for your own pets. You shouldn't go to some place that does everything cookie cutter, that everything is the same and dictated by
Right.
corporate or by a protocol that doesn't allow for individual medicine. Every patient should have individualized care.
Mm.
That's my that's my sort of soapbox for tonight is don't go someplace that does cookie cutter. Go places that listen to you. You have a conversation. They hear you. They don't just listen to you, they hear you and they respond to what your requests are. I want a thimerosal-free vaccine. I want an injection of Bravecto. I want a topical of this. Go in educated, listen to your veterinarian, have them listen to you, and have that interchange of, okay, together we come to a decision of what's best care for this dog. And every dog in your house, every cat in your house may not have the same needs. They
Right.
may be older, they may be younger, they may be a different breed. You have to have those individualized care discussions.
Yeah, I think that that's really important. When I talk to people and they're like, "Well, I got my new puppy and took it to the vet and they just slapped it on Credelio and did this and did that and did the other and gave it 16 vaccines." I'm like, I start, I have a little twitch.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. There are definitely ways that you can minimize the frequency of vaccine, minimize the number of things. You can do titers. There's a lot of things that you can do. Rabies is not a forgiving thing in dogs. It may be in cats, depending on where you live. But please seek veterinary care with someone that hears you, listens to you, has an actual conversation with you, and will work with what your needs and your expectations are.
Mhm.
And, a lot of veterinarians don't like to hear, well, my breeder said this is what I should feed, or my breeder said this is what I should vaccinate for. They don't like to hear that. But I'm telling you, your breeders know what works for their dogs, what they don't react well to, what they do react to. So please find
If
someone
there's
that's
seizures in your
that's open.
lines, all of those things
Right,
are really important
right,
that
right,
working with a preservation breeder gives you that information that you don't have in a
right.
case where you
Work
don't know where the dog came from.
Right, work with someone that's actually willing to do those things. And if you go to the first veterinary clinic and it's not working for you, there are plenty of other veterinarians in the community that would be happy to listen to you. So, seek out the veterinarian that works best with what your needs are, your expectations are, what your pet's needs are. There, you have lots of options. Just because they're down the street from you doesn't make them the best choice.
Well, and I think too, I'm pretty sure you're the one who taught me this, but used this personally, used this looking for a different veterinary clinic at a certain point and paying them, making an appointment, paying for the appointment so that you can, purchase that veterinarian's time to have a conversation with them and
Yeah,
and figure out, is this going to be simpatico or not? This is someone that you're going to have probably an ongoing lifetime relationship with. Certainly I
yeah,
have had with my veterinarians. And
yeah.
so I think that it respects the veterinarian's time and it shows that you are very serious and very um, thoughtful about your taking care of your particular pet.
Right. Don't go in so close-minded that you won't listen to how they converse with you.
Hmm.
Go in with some open-mindedness, but take your records from the breeder or the rescue. Take your pet food label. Take this stuff along. Plan on not rushing through the appointment. And when the technician comes into the room, speak to them first. Go through the whole thing, whatever their pattern is. Some clinics come in with the doctor first, some don't. But learn kind of how that dance happens.
Hmm.
And if the dance isn't working for you,
Hmm.
dance on out the door and go to another place. But do some reading, see what kind of reviews they have.
Hmm.
Pick somebody, get recommendations from your breeder, from your local shelter, from some of these places that can give you good information. There's some great ways to pick a veterinarian, and if it's not working, find another. It is not required that you go to any particular veterinarian. You have lots of choices, and it's a competitive world out there. So pick one that works for you. And if you don't want corporate, don't go to corporate. If you like corporate, great, go for it.
Right.
But you select somebody that really is in sync with you, because it will be a 15-year relationship going well. It will be a 15-year relationship, and they're the ones that know your lifestyle, understand you. When it becomes the decision making of it's time to let this pet go, you have to feel like you've been able to rely on them for good advice for many years. And then when you start to get that new pet, ask them before you get one. Go in, make the appointment, and talk to them and say, I'm ready for my next dog or cat or pet, whatever it happens to be. Have them help you with some of these decisions, because they know you. These are part of this is the other family doctor.
Yeah.
There's amazing veterinarians out there that are really willing to help you. Use that resource as it's meant to be used.
I love that. I love that. All right, Marty. Namaste. Thank you so much. We appreciate you every single time, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Thanks.
Or
Bye.
we'll finish up the whole allergy thing next week. I promise.
You got it.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, friends. Did you know that the Marty and Laura Show website has a special page just for young animal lovers? Whether your child is meeting their first pet or already dreaming of becoming a veterinarian, Kids Corner is a place to explore animals through creativity, curiosity, and age-appropriate learning. Designed for young animal lovers and their families, these resources encourage empathy, responsibility, and a lifelong love of pets. Start off with a free coloring page. That's right. A new coloring page is available regularly. Download one free and check back often for new designs. And if you love that free page, take your coloring adventure further with the 10-page Color Me Pets coloring pack for just $5. Each page is filled with adorable, breed-specific dogs and fun educational prompts that spark creativity and curiosity. This pack is perfect for kids who want to explore, who want to color, and who want to discover more about pets. It encourages careful observation, fine motor skills, and an appreciation for animals, all while providing hours of fun. Plus, it's an easy, printable download, perfect for rainy days, long car rides, or creative play at home. Artwork by award-winning artist Sandy Mesmer, the Color Me Canine collection brings even more adorable pets and fun designs. Explore full coloring books available online through Sandy's shop link on our page. Visit martyandlaurashow.com/kids-corner to learn more. Thank you for joining us on the Marty and Laura Show. We're excited to bring you these unique, fun, fact-based conversations about pet health. We hope you'll join us on social. Stop by the website to sign up for an extra tip of the week for your pet. While you're at it, do us a favor, please, and leave a review wherever you find your podcasts. The Marty and Laura Show is produced by Pure Dog Talk, Inc. Sound design and editing by Premium Audio Services.